Good evening, Mr. Douglas. Can we start? Can you hear me, Douglas, sir?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Arun Mohan, sir, please.
All right, sir. Good evening to all. I welcome all the dignified participants to the 118th web training series of CBSE Bharat Sahodaya. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's moderator, Miss Himani Bakshi. Miss Himani has a decade of experience as a teacher of English language and literature. She's a master in English literature from the prestigious Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University. She has been actively involved in promoting holistic education and experiential learning among students. She is currently working as high school teacher of English language and literature at Modern School, Bharagamba Road, New Delhi, and she is also the subject coordinator for class 6 to 10. Ms. Bakshi has been training students for public speaking, theater, and various co-curricular activities. She recently rendered her service as observer in National Achievement Survey 2021 and was also a member of result compilation panel of her school for class 10 CBSE board examination 2020. So Himani Bakshi ma'am, wholeheartedly I invite you to moderate this grand session. Please ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Arun sir, for your kind words. I really appreciate it.
Always,
A very good evening, everyone. Before we begin, I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Abdul Salam and CBSE Bharat Sahodaya Complex for giving me this coveted opportunity. I also extend a very warm welcome to all the participants with us today. As we embark together on this enlightening journey of pertinent discussion regarding the Term 2 Social Science question paper in the 118th web training series, it is indeed a pleasure to have each one of you as an integral part of the webinar. Continuing with its plethora of endeavors, the CBSE Bharat Sahodaya Complex, along with today's remarkably talented resource person, Mr. Douglas Joseph, will seek to provide valuable inputs in this session regarding the CBSE Term 2 Class 10 Social Science course structure and examination pattern. The social sciences carry a normative responsibility to create and widen the popular base for human values. Thus, social science teaching basically should be aimed at investing in students a moral and mental energy so as to provide them with the ability to think independently. Before we begin with today's session, there are a few things I'd like to brief you about. Kindly keep your device cameras switched on for the session. Any query in the midst of the session can be conveyed through the meeting chat box. In order to have an interactive experience, you may dispel your doubts by asking questions. Kindly raise your hand virtually and wait for your name to be called out for asking your query. The participants will also have the opportunity to receive certificate only after filling up the certificate and feedback form, the link for which will be shared at the end of the session. Kindly stay connected till the end of the session. At this juncture, on behalf of all of us present in the webinar, I would like to thank Dr. Salam for empowering us with such enlightening sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Abdul Salam, the General Secretary of CBSE Bharat Sahodaya Complex. Dr. Salam is a visionary leader par excellence. With more than 2 decades of experience, Sir holds various pivotal positions. Besides being the principal of prestigious the Oxford School, Trivandrum, Sir is the CBSE resource person and Deputy Training Coordinator of Trivandrum region. His sincere and altruistic ventures for academic fraternity are commendable. Sir, I would humbly like to request you to take over and deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Ashwani ma'am. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
So thank you so much for joining us today all the participants, a warm welcome to you. The social studies community, teaching community is here with us from across India and abroad. Today we are very glad that Douglas Joseph has connected to us from UAE and Himani Bakshi from Delhi, and I am from Kerala, and you all from different parts of the world joining hand in hand to discuss and interact on the second term exam with regard to social science. We have been planning with Mr. Douglas and I have been planning for a session, but we have tight schedules and now only it is materialized. So without much delay, let's listen to Douglas sir, and please clear all your doubts before you leave this platform today. So thank you so much, Douglas sir, and Himani Bakshi, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for your motivating and valuable words, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we shall proceed to the highlight of today's webinar. Our esteemed resource person today, Mr. Douglas Joseph, will guide us and help us understand the selection and organization of Term 2 material into a meaningful social science paper. He will assist us with pertinent pointers that will help the educators ace the new descriptive pattern of CBSE Term 2 question paper. Mr. Douglas Joseph is the head of the Department of Commerce at the prestigious Our Own English School, Fujairah, UAE. He rendered his services as the Associate Professor of Economics at BIMS College, Fujairah, UAE. Mr. Joseph has been former faculty at Ministry of Education in Maldives. He is the recipient of Edu Excellence Award instituted by Brilliance Institute of Management, Dubai. He has written a plethora of articles on education and social issues, which are constantly published in newspapers and magazines from Gulf and India, such as Khalij Times, Dubai, Mathrubhumi, and Madhyamam Daily. Sir, on behalf of everyone present, I welcome you and request you to take over the proceedings for the evening.
Good evening, all. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good evening, all from Kofakan, Sharjah. The place where I speak to you has a relevance as far as India is concerned. I'm sitting in a place overlooking Gulf of Oman, part of Arabian Gulf. And this is the shore where years before, people from different ports of India have reached this shore to seek their fortune in Gulf far back in 1960s.
Mr. Douglas, can you hold
Yes.
the mic a bit closer? Sound is very feeble.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And I welcome all of you, all the leaders and the educators for today's session. I hope this session will be a fruitful one, and I extend my heartfelt appreciation for Farid Sagodia for organizing such a wonderful session for the educators from India and abroad. Thank you all. So before I start, let me share my screen. Is this screen is visible to you all?
No, sir, not.
Not at fine. Is this screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible now.
And can you see me also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. On January 31st in 2020, That was the year the first COVID-19 cases was reported in India. And it was the second anniversary has been celebrated a few days ago. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome all of you to today's webinar. And after this pandemic has affected the education scenario far and wide, and CBSE has been waiting to conduct the first board examination last year. However, it did not happen. From that, CBSE has learned a lesson and have decided to take a preemptive attempt to conduct the first term board examination. And it was successfully done, and we are on the brink of the second term board examination. It will scheduled to happen in the month of March and April. So as far as the social science is concerned, we are waiting for our board examination, and a recently released sample paper has shown that it is a descriptive type. So let us move on to our session. So as per the course,
Mr. Douglas, one more thing. Can you switch over to the presentation mode? Slideshow is there. Slideshow.
oh yeah, fine.
Yes, sir. Adjacent. Yes, sir.
It's fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
fine, good.
Okay. The course is bifurcated into 80 marks, and the first term has been done for 40 with an NCQ paper. And the second term is designated for the another half, that is the 40. And for the grade 9, for the second term, it's almost same like the grade 10. It is history, geography, political science, and economics, 10 mark each. So therefore, in the second term, grade 10 as well as the grade 9, the social science is concerned, there is 40 marks, 10 mark each for 4 divisions of the subject. So the portions are concerned. For the history, there are 2 lessons are designated for grade 9 and 3 lessons from geography and 2 from political science and 1 from economics. This is the portion that is designated for grade 9 second term examination. Even though grade 9 has no board examination, it is conducted as per the board examination pattern equivalent to grade 10. And for this second term social science grade 10 examination, we have 1 chapter from history, that is nationalism in India, and there are 2 other chapters that is tested only in the periodic test, and no assessment is done for the board examination. And for the geography is concerned, there are 3 chapters, and the first chapter, minerals and energy resources, that is only designated for map question in the board examination. For the political science is concerned, there are 2 chapters and economics also. And for the map work, so the map work of grade 10 board examination, and there are map work is come from history and geography. There are 2 subjects, that's history and geography, and there is no map work from political science and economics. And all these map questions, that is the main part of 1. All these map questions, which are all questions that is come, that is given in the syllabus that is released by CBSE, the modified and bifurcated syllabus that is released by CBSE. All the map questions has been given, and there is no question will come out of these portions or the topics that is given for the map, that all educators and the students have to taken care of. And let's see the internal assessment pattern. There are 20 marks internal assessment. So when we consider social science grade 10 or 9 as one unit, there are 100 marks, and 40 and 40 is assigned for both terms, and remaining 20. Apart from the main written examination, we have an internal assessment. And the first time in the history of the board examination, these internal examination marks, that is 20 mark, has been divided into two. 10 mark for term 1, that is done, and another 10 mark for this second term. Now the process is going on in various schools across the CBSE fold, where this 10 mark process is kick-started. So how we award these 10 marks? As per the CBSE internal assessment guidelines, there is 3 mark is awarded for the periodic test. CBSE is assigned 3 periodic tests for the grade 10 and grade 9 respectively. In the academic year, the school has to conduct 3 periodic tests, and based on the marks, the school has to award on a grade scale of 1 to 3 marks. And the second one is multiple assessment. The multiple assessment can be embedded with the classroom pedagogy. So something what is that happened in the class, when the lesson is transacted in the class, that time this multiple assessment has been done. It can be a role play, it can be a group discussion, it can be a quiz, it can be a mind map or a concept map, or it can be a recitation, or it can be a debate or a skit or an art integrated project. So multiple activities can be conducted, and based on the activities done in the classroom, 2 marks can be awarded. And next 2 marks will go for the portfolio work. A portfolio that is very much relevant for a grade 10 student, irrespective of the subject, whether it is science, maths, or social science. The students has to prepare a portfolio. A portfolio is a compilation of the whole academic work that a student done in one particular academic year. It shows the proof and evidences of the work that is done as a part of the curriculum transaction. So portfolio, 2 mark is designated for portfolio. And finally, subject enrichment activities. It is mainly art integrated product. As we know, the CBSE has introduced a novel learning experience for students, that is the art integrated learning. The lessons or the topic that is transacted, the curriculum that is transacted, that can be represented or exhibited by way of art. It can be a model, it can be a painting, it can be a pencil sketch, or it can be a collage. So in any way, the lessons or the topic or the portions of that is exhibited or displayed by way of an art integrated project, there are 3 marks awarded. So therefore, now the process is going on. Internal assessment process is going on in various schools across CBI spectrum, where based on the periodic test, multiple assessment, portfolio, and subject enrichment activities, 10 mark internal assessment is done. Now, let's go to the much awaited grade 10 second term board examination. As a general description, it is said that this is a descriptive paper. The first term, the students, what they attended was a MCQ based and objective type paper. So this time, the CBSE board has given a descriptive one. Let's go to the paper and see how the question pattern is like. So it was a 2-hour examination and having 40 marks. And the paper has been divided into 5 sections. As I mentioned, this is a descriptive paper. There is no 1-mark question apart from the map questions. It means all the questions that is given in the second term has to be written in detail. So therefore, the section A consists of very short answers. It has 2 marks and there are 5 questions. So the time, the word limit that is given is for a very short answer question is 40 marks. And the second section, that is short answers. Here, the students can write in 80 marks. The word limit is 80 marks and 3 marks is awarded. And the section C consists of long answer questions. And this is something like the so-called essay questions where it carries 5 marks and the students need to elaborate their answers into 120 words. There are 2 internal choices for this question. And the next session consists of a case-based question. This is a new entrant into the arena of board examination. And I will be giving a detailed explanation of these various types of questions in coming. So let's move on. So this case study question or case-based question is come from history and geography portions. And there are 2 questions and students have to answer after reading the comprehension passage. And the next session is a map question that carries 3 marks, 1 mark from history and 2 marks from geography. And this is the overall pattern of second term social science examination. Even though this pattern is followed in the board examination, grade 9 teachers can also follow the same pattern for the final examination in the internal school final examination. So one thing we must note or we must observe that this is a descriptive type examination. Secondly, there is no overall choice for these exam questions. Irrespective of that, there is internal choice. The students have internal choice where they can select the option A or B. However, there is no overall choice, and all questions are compulsory. That students and teachers must be observe when they see this pattern. And let's go to the crucial part of this webinar, that is how to prepare for second term social science examination. So let's come to the very short answer and short answer type questions. When the students deal with, or when we prepare our students, when the educators, when the teachers, when they prepare our students, this is the time for we are struggling to complete our syllabus, and that's a mammoth task, and we are heading towards a revision. So hardly there are 25 days or 30 days for the board examination. So therefore, when we focus on a short answer and a very short answer question, how we can train students, or how we have to motivate, or how we have to instruct the students. So when they get a question like a short answer, a very short answer, or a short answer question. So what they have to do? So one thing they have to do is they have to deconstruct the question. Means they have to analyze the question. They have to see, they have to divide it into part, and they have to rephrase the question in their own words. So that is what skill the students require in order to attempt a very short answer and a short answer question. And they must know how to structure their answer. That is very much relevant. And moreover, when they write, they have to substantiate their points with an examples. And we do not have the liberty, the students do not have the liberty of using more time or explaining in detail. Therefore, what they have to do is they have to be straight to the point. That is most relevant. When they start attending a short answer or a long answer question, it should be matter of fact, and it should be a structured answer. All the short descriptive questions, that must be a structured answer where the students have to give the synopsis or the summary or the crucial point of what is asked for. Most of the time what students face is the lack of time. The time management might be an issue, especially for the theory papers such as the social science. So in order to avoid the time management issues, we have to train, or we have to focus our training for preparing our students for the second term board examination in such a way that we have to clearly instruct the students that short answers and very short answers, they have to matter of fact. And very short answers, the CBSE has assigned as per the newly released answer key, or there are 2 points for very short answer questions. The students must write 2 points. And please remember that when we train our students to prepare for these very short answer questions, to face very short answer question, to make them very clear that even though they have written 5 or 6 points extra or additional, they will not get more than the designated 2 marks. So they have to be matter of fact, they have to be precise, and they have to write the minimum points, the 2 points. And the word limit is 40 words. This 40 words is 2-3 sentences. When we convert it into sentences, it comes as 2-3 sentences. As we assume that a typical sentence, an average sentence consists of 15 to 20 words. And comes to the short answer, the students have 3 marks and they are supposed to write 3 points for this one. So here they have to remember that at least 3 points should be written when they answer. So we have to instruct the students as per. And 80 words limit is there for the short answer question. Therefore, when we convert it into sentences, it comes into 4 or 6 sentences. So 4 or 6 lines. So this we have to instruct our students. And what type of question can be asked in the initial part, that is very short answer and short answer, consist of 2 and 3 marks respectively. So these are the, we have to instruct them clearly. These are the type of questions that can possibly come for the board examination. One is compare. Compare means identifying similarities. Contrast. Contrast is identifying the difference. So we have to clearly instruct the difference between compare and contrast. When a question that comes for compare something, the students have to identify the similarities of 2 different things. Whereas when it is a contrast question, they have to identify the difference. And the define question, they have to say what does it mean in a word or a phrase. And when it comes to the distinguished question, they have to describe the differences. And when it comes to identify, they have to name or set out the features of a particular object or things. And when a question starts with state, it means they have to express something in clear language. And sample questions. These samples, some of these samples are based on the recently released CBSE sample paper and some from the previous year's papers. So the sample questions for differentiate, for example, a question that starts with differentiate. Differentiate between one party and two party system. This is from a political science. So here the students have to show the difference and state the role of Reserve Bank of India. This is from an economics question. This is state the role of RBI in India. So state. When it comes to the explain question, they have to elaborate. They have to give the details. So as an example question, explain the new economic and political situations created in India during the First World War. Here the students have to show the various details in relation to the question. Write a short note. So write a short note. They have to write a paragraph of the given topic. Here, write a short note on the Rowlatt Act that passed in 1990. Classify. There is another type of question. Classify industries based on the source of raw materials used. This is a question from the geography part where they have to divide. They have to show the difference. They have to set apart two different things and show why these two are different. And another very important question, and probably the students may confuse or the students may reach in a wrong answer or the wrong way of answering. This is the one. Study a table or a graph or a diagram and answer the questions. So the students can expect a table, a pie diagram, a Venn diagram, or a graph or a line graph, whether it is a line graph or a bar graph. So a pictorial representation, a picture or a graph can come, whereas the students have to study the given diagram and they have to answer based on that question. This is a relevant question, or this is a something different question, same like the case-based questions. So in here, we have to give enough practice as an educators, as a teacher, as a social science teachers who are preparing our students. We have to give enough practice for this graphical type of questions or graphical representation questions. And let's see the type of short answer questions. There is a question, there's a possibility, compare and contrast. There is a definition, examine. So when a question comes, examine the statement. So here the students have to go a deep study, or they have to see from all angles. They have to see the given question from or given statement from all angles, and they have to give a variety of viewpoints regarding. So when a question for examine comes, start with examine. When it comes to list and identify, this is a type of short answer question where they have to find a certain places or certain person or certain principles or certain theories. They have to find, they have to recognize, they have to identify, and they have to list it. And another type of question, that is give reason. In this type of questions where the students are supposed to give the reasons why it happened, why one particular incident or something has happened, what was the factors behind it. So they have to give a clear picture or clear reasoning or causes for this. And then relate. Every word is important. When a question starts with a relate, the students have to find a relationship between any two mentioned factors that is given in the question. So there will be two factors. For example, there is a sample question. What is the relationship between globalization and development? So here a relate means the students have to find what are the relationship between these two various factors. And one more type of question, that is justify the statement. A given statement is given, students have to justify it, why it happens, or what is the reason for it. So for example, the credit activities of informal sector should be discouraged. This is a statement taken from the economics lesson, money and credit. So this question asks the students to justify it. However, unfortunately, each word that start a question, most of the students are applying the same thing for, irrespective of whether it is definition, whether it is examine, whether it is give reason, whether it is compare and contrast, whether it is relate, where it is justify the statement. They have a common answer for all this. So the students are supposed to change their answer or construct their answer based on the verb or the wordings that the question starts with. When it comes to examine, there is a particular structure there the students have to do it. So we have to clearly instruct the students. That's why, see, we cannot apply the same yardstick for all different questions. So when we apply the same yardstick for different things, so it will not be a suitable one. Therefore, based on the question pattern, based on the question structure, based on the sense of the question, we have to differentiate, we have to change, we have to modify the way we attend the questions. And I think most of our educators are aware of this, and they train their respective students based on this information and knowledge. And let's come to the long answer question. The long answer question requires the respondents to write detailed answers in response to open-ended questions. For the descriptive second term board examination, the CBSE has given 2 long answer questions and it 5 marks each. And these questions are come from geography and history. And the word limit that is given is 120 words. When we convert into the 120 words, that is approximately 10 to 15 sentences. The student should aware that this is a 5-mark question. So therefore, we have to prepare students in such a way that they have to explain the given question in various angles. Moreover, they have to substantiate their points with explanations and examples. So they have to clearly, the student should get a clear picture, or the educator should get a clear picture that just writing the bullet points will not be sufficient for a long answer question. Here, they have to give the points and they have to explain it and substantiate it with examples in 120 words, that is approximately 10 to 15 lines. Let's come to another crucial part of this webinar, that is the types of question that we can expect as far as long answer question is concerned. One is analyze the reason. Second is explain and describe. So analyze the reason. Analyze means the students see a given statement or a question in various viewpoints and they express different points or different viewpoints related to that. That is the analysis part. And explain and describe. And explain and describe. A question that starts with explain and describe. It can be an explanation about features, problems, merits, demerits, effects, and reasons. So students can describe the features, characteristics. They can explain the problems and solutions. They can go to the pros and cons and merits or demerits or advantages or disadvantages. They can find the cause and effect relationship. So this is a question type that comprises of explain and describe. Next one is explain with example. Here the students have to illustrate. They have to give an example to prove the point or the question that is asked, and to support the statement with examples. Here a statement will be given. The students have to prove or substantiate the statement with the supporting examples. Here the prominence is for the example that is given. And examine the statement. That is another question where a statement is given. There the students have to have a deeper analysis of the given statement. That is the examine. So when we discuss or when we instruct our students for a long answer type of questions, when we prepare our students, it is better always give them a clear picture or a clear idea of what they have to do. When we set out a journey, if we are aware of the way or the path we are going, it will be an easy task for us to reach our destination. Therefore, when we prepare our students, we have to give them clear instructions. So how to face the examination, how to face various questions. So always emphasize the point that the same yardstick, the same answers will not work for a plethora of questions that can be asked, the possible question, a plethora of possible questions that can come for CBSE examination. For a long answer question, it can be an analysis type. An analysis type question, break that question or a given concept or a principle into component parts and find the relation between each. That is the analysis part. The students have to do for that. Argue, sometimes argue. You have to present a case for a particular argument. Criticize. There is a question that can start from critically evaluate. That's a common question. Critically evaluate. When a question comes with the word critically evaluate, you have to explain the problems, limitations, and weakness. So that is a critical study. So therefore, the limitation, the shortcomings, as well as the strength, also the weakness can be pointed out when we critically evaluate a given principle or a statement. When it is described, it is always given a set of features or characteristics. When it is evaluate, some questions can start with the word evaluate, means you have to make a judgment. You have to make a your own opinion, your own views, your own point of view, the judgment for the given statement or a principle. So always remember, when there is an evaluation, the word evaluation is there, evaluate is there. In the answer, they have to summarize with a judgment. And when it is an explain question, they have to give clear and detailed account of what is given. And when it is an outline question, when a question starts with outline, they have to list the main features, characteristics, pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. That is the outline part. When a question comes with a word, starting with the word summarize, we have seen these questions. Summarize. Summarize means present the main points without much details. So when a question start with the summarize, please always remember here there must be a brief synopsis of what you have written or what is the idea. And some questions may start with to what extent. Here you have to create an argument. You have to make your point in favor of a given statement. You are either in favor or you are opposing. This is using your own perspective, your own point of view. How, to what extent something will affect the other. So here we have to find the relationship. We have to put forward our point of view from our perspective. We have to present our argument. And the most common type of question is features. Here the students are supposed to give the characteristics and features. And there are certain questions that can start with functions. Functions, here you have to highlight the role of something. This is a common question where it can be the role of RBI, it can be the role of commercial banks, or it can be the role of self-help group. Irrespective of the question, when it comes to functions, please remember the students don't write features here. This is the problem of applying wrong yardsticks. When it, see, I will show you a clear danger or a possible danger for a student that can come across. A question comes, functions of RBI. This is a question from the money and credit chapter of economics. The functions of RBI. And another question is the features of RBI. The students cannot present the same answer for both these questions. It is very clear that a functions means what is the responsibility, what is the duties, what is the role of RBI. It is not the features of RBI. It is not when RBI started or who started or what is the purpose of starting RBI. However, this means the role played by RBI. So these wordings are very, very crucial when we prepare our students for the forthcoming board examination. And long answer, how we can prepare our students for a long answer question. How we can write answers for that. So when they get a question, first thing they have to do is, before they start to attempt, they have to plan, they have to make a mind map of main points. A long answer question is designated for 5 marks, therefore, and 120 words. It approximately come some 10 to 15 sentences. Therefore, the students have to give a detailed account of the given principle or the statement or the question that is given in the paper. Therefore, before they start, they have to a 1-minute planning they have to do. This thing, while they are doing a practice session, a revision test, or a mock test, we can give instruction to students to plan their answers before they venture into answer. So a 5-second or a 10-second planning, and they have to see the 5 points that they are going to write. Secondly, when they start to write, please remember these points the points that they are making. So the students have a habit of writing it in a lengthy paragraph, and there is no demarcation between, or there is no spaces between the points, the paragraph. So it is for the evaluator, the person who value their papers. It is a tough time to discern the points from irrelevant facts. So therefore, in order to make the evaluator's duty easy, what the students have to do, if a particular long answer question, it has 5 points. If it has 5 points, these 5 points should be highlighted. I have seen the topper's video in 2019, the topper out of 500 in the CBSE +2 examination, out of 500, she missed only 2 marks. That is for English, and she's a humanities student. She was a humanities student, and all remaining papers she scored 100% marks. And usually when I conduct these sessions for exam preparation, I show this paper. There is a video of this paper, but unfortunately not in a position to show right now. And this paper where every point is underlined. And when we write a long answer question, please substantiate your points with an explanation. Bullet points will not only work for a long answer question. It can work for a very short answer or a short answer question. You can give the relevant points in a sentence form. However, we have to clearly instruct, educators have to clearly instruct the students that they have to substantiate with the relevant points and examples. And the focus points or the crucial points, they have to underline in order to, or highlight in order to get the attention of the evaluator. This is the way they have to present the paper. So when we prepare our students, it is our responsibility as a teacher. It is our responsibility to prepare the students in a scientific way. There is a way to work. We can work smart, we can work hard. When you work smart, when you work in a systematic way, when you prepare in a systematic way, when you prepare in a scientific way, the results will be fabulous. Otherwise, even though we put a lot of effort, we put a lot of things to it, a lot of time and energy is done. However, if we haven't prepared in a scientific way, all our efforts are futile. So therefore, this is also a part of preparing our students, how to present, how various type of questions, and how we can differentiate our answer based on the questions. The same answer will not work for all type of question, that we have to make it clear. And let's come to the case-based questions. This is a recent introduction. I can say maybe last 2 years or that, a case-based question. So first we have to have a clear idea of what is a case study question or a case-based question. When we talk about a case study question or a case-based question, this needs certain skills from the part of students. However, our students are well trained in this because they have the comprehension type of questions in English. So therefore, they have the necessary skills to attend this question. So, but remember that a case question is based on a textbook part. It is taken from the textbook, but not the direct one. A real life example is taken. A plot or a real life example is taken based on a portion that is in the textbook. It is not the exact portion, but based on the portion, a real life example. It can taken from a newspaper or a magazine or some other source. However, it will be a real life example. So the students have to, what skills the students require to attend a case study question or a case-based question. They have to carefully read the given passage. First of all, they have to clearly read the given passage. Then there will be any case study. There will be certain relevant things. One is there will be a problem and there will be a solution. And apart from this, there will be a trend. So it can be a trend, a progression from a humble beginning to the summit. There will be a progression. Or the question can relate to a problem and its solution. So the case studies will be always trendsetters or trends or talk about problems and solutions. So students have to identify or recognize whether a particular problem and solution is given, or this is just describe a trend or a development from a beginning to end. So they have to, after once they read, please remember, don't try to write or take in the same passage or the sentences and copy it into the answer paper. You have to clearly instruct our students to rephrase your answer. That is very much necessary. You understand the point of view, or you understand the concept, and write in your own words, your own language to express the answers when you write a case study question. That we have to train our students. So let's come to the last part of the second term social science examination, that is in relation to map question. A map question has three different types. It can be a labeling, or locating, or identifying. This is the most confused part as far as the social science is concerned. When they are asked to locate, they label it. When they are asked to identify, they neither locate nor label. So we have to, as a social science faculty, as a social science teacher, it is our responsibility to clearly demarcate what is meant labeling. So labeling means we have to write name or a text that is written in a given map. This is related to map question. So something we write a place. For example, we write a history. We write Mumbai, or write a project, the Bakranangal hydroelectric project. So the name is writing. If it is given labeling, always remember you have to write a text. Locating, what does it mean by location or locating? So locating is you have to find the spot. It is an empty outline map where we are locating, we are finding the exact spot where something is happened or something is located. So we have to, maybe you have to draw a star, or you have to put a dot there to locate that place. Then identification. Identification means in CBSE social science examination, there are two types of identification. One is when a particular spot is already located. This spot where the Indian National Congress session happened in 1925. This is the place where Mahatma Gandhi started the Satyagraha, the salt Satyagraha. So the place is already located, where we have to say which place it is. So here, which or what. So that is means identification. Let me show you a clear example of this. So this we have to, when we prepare our students, when we prepare our social science students, whether it is grade 9 final examination or a board examination, we have to train them that they have to expect for them, as far as a map question is concerned, they have to expect three tasks: locating, identifying, and labeling. For example, this is a sample question taken from the CBSE paper. On the given outline political map of India, identify the place marked A. So there is a place already marked A with the help of following information, and write it correct name on the line marked near it. So this is the place, a clue also given. There is a hint is given. However, we have to identify. We have to say which place it is. The place where non-cooperation movement was called off due to violence. Here, the task is, students have to identify that. Here, the task is they have to say which place where it happened. And they have to write on the space given. So here, they are the here we are bypassing one that is locating. Location is not required. Here we are bypassing the task of locating because already location is done in the map. We have to identify which or what it is and label it, write it. So this is the task. So therefore, so please have a look at this map, and please do remember that map question is given for history and geography. History, there is 1 question, 1 mark, and geography, there are 2 questions, 2 mark. So the history one will be located. It will be already located and an alphabet is given. So we have to, what you have to do is, you have to find it, which place it is, and write it. For example, you can see from the map, there is, it is 2 dams are mapped, Bakranamal Dam and Tehri Dam. These dams are identified, located, identified, and labeled, the 3 tasks. Okay, so this is all about the map making or marking, locating, and identifying map. So, dear educators and educational leaders, this is a high time, this is the time where we prepare our students. We have the revisions for the forthcoming board examination. For the grade 9 is concerned, it is a time for, we are steering towards the final examination. So whether it is grade 9 or grade 10, the same pattern will be followed. Same examination pattern and internal assessment pattern that is given by the CBSE board is followed for grade 9 and grade 10. Simultaneously, we can use it for both these classes. Therefore, we have to train the students or prepare our students in a short time. That is the challenge we are facing. The first term board examination that was conducted during the month of November and December. Hardly we had January and February. There is 2 months to prepare our students for the second term examination. It was a tedious task. It's a Herculean task on the part of teachers to prepare the students in a short while. Once of all, the mammoth task of completing the syllabus, and apart from this, we have to train them or gear up them for the examination. So these 2 tasks in a short time will be a difficult one for the educators. I am sure that we are all struggling. However, if we adopt a more scientific and systematic way, we can prepare our students in a short while. So this is what that I am trying to inculcate all these training, or what I was trying to or emphasize today was how we can do this task in a short time. And I hope this will be beneficial for our fraternity of social science teachers across the CBSE spectrum. And I thank Dr. Abdul Salam and today's crew members for this opportunity. Thank you all.
Sir, there are a few questions in the chat box. Himani ma'am.
Yes, sir.
First one is whether there is any chapter-wise weightage.
The question asked
yes.
is chapter-wise weightage of questions. Are
Yes.
there any chapter-wise weightage of marks
Yes.
for questions?
Yes. So in the bifurcated syllabus, that is released by CBSE on August 5th of 2021, in the bifurcated syllabus, when we can see when the portions or the chapters or lessons are given, in that there on corresponding to that portion, the time taken to execute or the transaction, this lesson is given there. So it is different for also the expected marks or the time allocated given or the period in which we have to transact this lesson is given. This is an indicator for the weightage that is given. Apart from this, there is no weightage is given specifically in the bifurcated syllabus or any other document released by the CBSE.
Sir, there was an initial question. Madam Meena Rani had asked that first term PT marks have already been taken for the first term. So is it necessary to consider them for term 2 as well?
Can you clear that?
The first term periodic test marks, they were already considered for the first term. The first periodic test that they have, it was already included in the first term marks, internal.
Yes.
So they are saying, are they supposed to consider it again for the term 2?
Now the CBSE board has given 3 periodic tests for the social science subjects. So this periodic test one can be conducted in first term 1 and the 2 in the term 2 or vice versa. So that is clearly mentioned. So 3 tests is given. Suppose 1 test is given and based on that the 3 mark is taken for the first term internal assessment. Total there are 10 marks. Out of that 3 mark is given based on the periodic test performance. So once that is over, so they have to conduct another two periodic tests. If 2 is already done, the remaining 1 should be conducted in the second term. So this is what is done in the first term. That chapter is closed.
Yes, sir. So another question from Madam Rachna. She has asked that visual and cartoon-based questions, are they required in political science?
Visuals and
cartoon-based questions. Are they required in political science?
So here, the most probable one is that graphical one that I explained in the beginning. So there is a question. It can be a pictorial representation. It can be a map, or it can be a table, or a Venn diagram, or a pie diagram, or a graph. Even we can say a cartoon also can become. So any pictorial or illustration or pictorial representation, we cannot specifically say one particular type come. But the crux of the question is we have to study the given graphical representation, and based on our analysis and understanding, we have and another is taken from geography theme. However, we don't know, we cannot say it can come from political science and economics also. However, students can prepare irrespective of whether it is geography, history, political science, or economics. The way they approach a question, that is same. So it doesn't matter for them whether it comes from a particular subject.
Yes, sir. Understood. So there's a question that teachers have been asking. They're saying, is it compulsory to write in paragraphs, or student can write their answers in points, especially for the long answer questions?
Yes. As I explained for the long answer question, the long answer must be a structured answer. It must be a structured answer. A good answer or an outstanding answer that score 10% mark or the full marks will be look like the layout will be like this. So there will be an introduction. There is an introductory line. There will be an introduction that welcomes the reader to the answer, and there will be space, and the bullet points must be there, and bullet points should be underlined. That is the subheading, the main points. Then 2-3 lines explaining that. Also add one example. Then space. Go to the second point. When the numbering also, it is important. Please instruct the students, don't number the inside points with the Indian digits like 1, 2, 3. Instead, they have to use small ABCD or Roman numerals. When they give bullet points, you have to use that. What is the trouble in using Indian digits? Indian digits use only for the question number. When we use the Indian digit for the question number, again when we use it for the answer, the subheadings and all, it creates a lot of confusion. So
yes.
always remember that the students use Indian digits for the question number, and inside they can use small letter ABCD, and once use it uniform pattern. Well, one place you use a star, another place you use a bullet, and in another place you use a Roman numeral, and one place is in a small letter ABCD. Use a uniform pattern. So like this, even though it is a paragraph, small paragraph, but the key word or sentence that is underlined or highlighted, and space is there. So a presentable one. So the presentation part is very, very important with examples. Even the examples also you can highlight. So that answer will make the work of the evaluator easy. If we make their work easy, they will make our work also easy.
Yes, sir. True. So another question is there. Is art integration compulsory for 10th standard this year?
Art integration in the internal assessment segment. If you see the new internal assessment guidelines given by, there is a document. Please, if you are any doubt with that, there is a document titled CBSE Internal Assessment 2021-22. So in that, there is a segment is given. In that segment, 2 places art integrated work is mentioned. The art integrated can be a simple mind map. It can be a map question done with coloring. It can be a collage. It is not a big deal to create an art integrated one. And once you created an art integrated one, it can be used for 2 things. Either it can be used for the multiple assessment. That is the one segment in the internal assessment, 3 mark is there. So if a student prepare one art integrated, you can award him 3 mark. Or in the subject enrichment activity, that is the another segment inside the internal assessment. There also a student prepare an art integrated one, subject enrichment activity. You can award him 3 mark. So 3 plus 3, 2 marks, sorry. 3 for periodic test, 3 for multiple assessment, 2 for portfolio, 2 for subject enrichment activity. Okay, so consider any art integrated project they have done either for multiple assessment or for subject enrichment assessment.
Yes, sir. So before I proceed with the next question, educators, if you have any doubts or query, you may raise your hands virtually and we'll unmute you to ask question from Joseph, sir. So there's another question. In graph representation, will the students make the graph or they will just explain it? Is it like the children are going to make the graph or they're just going to explain it? Only the explanation is required.
So this particular question, this is a graph is already given. Some graphical representation is given. So the students have to explain it, study this given graphical representation or illustration. They have to study it, and there will be sub questions. There are 2-3 sub questions are there, 1 mark, 2 mark, like that. Sub questions are there. So that is given in the released sample paper. However, for example, even we can explain, for example, a long answer question. a long answer question, if it is come from the subject like politics or economics, there are some graphs and charts are there where the students have to substantiate their answers by drawing a graph or something, especially in economics. If a question asked for a long answer question, explain with a graph, or that is given in the textbook, explain with a graph or something, they have to prepare for that. However, in the just released sample, there is no work that students is supposed to do or graph they're supposed to do.
Yes, sir. So we have some questions from our educators. Mr. Ramlat K wants to ask a question. Are you able to unmute? Yes. So please go.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah, ma'am, please go ahead.
First of all, thank you, sir, for your relevant and important session. And my question is, if we conducted 2 periodic tests for second term, how can we convert it into 3 marks? By taking the average of 2 tests or best one?
It is the discretion of the schools concerned whether they are taking the best out of 2 or whether they are finding the average. So this can be done by using a mathematical calculation. So this, if that is done, if one particular in Excel that calculation part is done, if the schools can do that one, and when they enter these marks, the automatically it will be 1 to 3 scale, 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark. That 1 to 3 scale, the mark will come based on that. This is a mathematical calculation. However, even you can do, even if you are not going so mathematically, even you can do, for example, a student who gets more than 80% in a periodic test can award the full mark, the 3 mark. Yes. Then a student between 50 and that 80% can award 2 marks, but mostly we keep minimum 2 irrespective of their periodic test performance. Okay, so that a vague assessment also can be done. Those students, or you can keep the slab little higher, those who get 85% or 90%, or you can bring the slab little down, those who get above 70%. So it is a discretion of the school to decide upon how these marks are taken. These 3 marks for periodic test is taken.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Ms. Preeti Bansal. Can you unmute yourself, ma'am? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session. Good evening, all the dignitaries present. Sir, my question is, in the sample question paper, it has been seen that the case-based study question is from history, and that too from the source boxes, which are at the
Yes.
right-hand side.
Yes.
So is it like we have already made source box practice by a student? So as I was listening to you, you said that it can come from outside also, like
Yes, yes.
somewhere from.
Yeah.
So like not from the boxes, somewhere from outside also?
But it was due to our experience in relation to the first time board examination. Even, and many of the some criteria that is given before the examination, but in the paper it was the opposite side. So therefore we have to prepare for any eventuality.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
We have another question from Madam Maya. Could you please unmute yourself, ma'am?
Good evening, sir. This is Tapanjali
Good
here.
evening. Good evening.
Yeah, so my question is, in the subject enrichment assessment, you have told that the student can make a collage. So if the student is making a collage, suppose of history, so does he need to take a particular chapter or the entire, all the chapter of the term 2 syllabus?
see, this is also the liberty of the teacher concerned and the students. When the teacher assign the students with a particular task, you prepare one art integrated project or a collage or something. So usually there are two ways. One is the teacher can specify the portions or the assignment or the task, or teacher can give a wider perspective that any topic from the history. After all, we have only one lesson that is for the board examination and one more lesson for the internal assessment. So there are two lessons from the history, since the question is from history, concerning history. So there are two lessons. So it is the discretion of the teacher whether can limit the topic to the board portion or to the limit the whole syllabus, that is the 2 chapters. It is based on the teacher, and the CBSE is not stipulating anything particular about you have to give this or you have to give that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have another question from Madam Simarji. Ma'am, could you please unmute yourself?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So thank you so much. It was a wonderful session I have ever listened.
Thank you, Matthias.
So actually, I want to ask, you have said that long questions will come only from history and geography.
It was what I mentioned is based on the sample paper released. Okay, there are two questions, 5 marks each. So total 10 marks. It is taken from history and geography. And
so we need to, we cannot say to the children that it will be only
that's
from
right.
history.
Yeah, that I told. Here also I want to take an anticipatory bail. So it is, we have to face any eventuality. So since we study history, geography or politics, so teach them to face short answer as well as long answer. So train them for both. So whether it is come from history and geography, since we have only one sample, if there is one more sample from CBSE, we could confirm that it will go in a certain pattern. It will go in a certain pattern. Since there is one, so ready to face, even if it comes from economics and political science. However, the current one is taken from history and politics, but prepare students for the long answer or the essay questions for all the 4 different subjects of social science.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So we have another question from Ms. Maya. Ma'am, could you please unmute yourself? Yes, you're unmuted. Ma'am, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. I'll go to the other educator we have who'd like to ask a question. Shiny George, could you please unmute yourself?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Your session was very informative one. So I would like to ask a question about the internal for the periodic test. So if we conduct only one periodic test for the second term, if you're just conducting one, can we give the 3 marks based on that periodic test?
Here also, overall there are 3 periodic test PT's exams are designated.
Yes, sir.
So maybe if there is one periodic test already conducted and assessed and given marks in the term 1, and now in this, maybe due to the shortage of time or lack of time or something, only one test is conducted. So here we can do another thing. For example, we can conduct a unit test or a class test. Well, while you do a revision test, and it can be considered as a PT test. Okay, this is a 20 marks question. This PT usually we conduct for 20 marks, this PT examinations. So you can conduct a class test like, or a revision test like, and that mark can be taken, or a unit test or something. It is not in a formative type, or usually it is a formal one. A PT one will be a formal one. It is announced, it is pre-announced, timetable is issued, and is conducted with all requirements. However, even in the class also, you can conduct like a unit test and consider that marks for. And taken the best, whether the formal PT1 or the unit test that is conducted as a class test, which is the best one, the best you can take.
Okay, thank you,
They
sir.
can take model exam also.
Yeah, you can take model exam also.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, I do have one more question. Sir, for this subject enrichment activity, is it compulsory that we should give an art integrated project, or could we give some debate, role play, collage or something like that?
Yeah, that debate, collage, all that things that comes in the multiple assessment. That is happening in the classroom transaction, during the classrooms transaction. This what by subject enrichment activities, what they mean is an assignment or a project that they do, students do their own at their homes or at their place where it is a project. It can be a collaborative one, or it can be their individual contribution. It can be an essay. For example, it can be a written assignment, a research work that students do, or an art integrated one, or we can say an interview, or any such one, or a survey they conducted. So it is a student work that is outside the classroom. That is the difference between this multiple assessment. Multiple assessment, CBSE clearly mentioned whether it is a skit or a role play or a painting or a art integrated one. It should be transacted within the four walls of the classroom or your digital platform. Maybe it is a digital platform where you do your online lessons. So that time it should be transacted. As an evidence, you can take a screenshot of the activities that is digitally done. However, this is you have as a given out work. This work, the students have to research, they have to do at their own or as a collaborative work that is outside the classroom.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Your answers were very clear, and the session is also very informative. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll proceed with the last question. Ms. Nair would like to ask a question. Ma'am, could you please unmute yourself?
Good evening, sir.
Good
Your
evening.
session was really informative. Actually, I want to say, sir, actually that 5 mark in the sample question paper, 5 mark question which is there, you said one is from history and one is from geography. If it is from geography, then the marking won't be correct. I think so that question is from economics. Only then 10-10 mark distribution will be correct.
Okay. Maybe my quick noticing might be went wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, it's from, okay. So that one from history and one from geography. Okay.
No, not geography. One from history and one from economics.
Okay, one from history and one
only
from
then
economics.
10-10 mark distribution will be
Okay.
correct.
So whether they have taken a long answer question or a short answer question, the 10 mark demarcation should be met. That is there. Okay. However, train our students to whether any question comes from history, long answer question come from all these four. Let them prepare.
Thank you so much, sir, for patiently answering all the questions of the educators.
Yes.
I would like to extend our gratefulness and appreciation to Mr. Douglas Joseph for broadening our horizons and regaling us with boundless discourse. I'm sure we will apply these tenets in our teaching modus operandi and ensure our young learners reap maximum benefit out of it. Dear participants, kindly note the link for certificate and feedback form has been already posted. You're requested to fill up the form with all the necessary details. I, Himani Bakshi, along with the CBSE Bharat Sahodaya Complex, would like to thank Mr. Joseph for his gracious presence and an enriching experience. I can vouch that all of us have had a lot to gain today. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Abdul Salam for his magnanimous support and guidance, like always. Thank you, sir, for such great opportunity. Also, a big thank you to the technical team, Arun Mohan sir and Arafat sir, for a flawless execution of today's session. And most importantly, thank you a million times to all the participants for their enthusiasm. I sincerely hope we earned the privilege of your time. Over to you, Salam, sir.
Thank you, Himani ma'am and Douglas sir. Himani ma'am, thank you so much for the graceful entering.
Thank you, sir. Means a lot.
So it's so nice to listen to you. And at the same time, similarly with Douglas Joseph, sir has prepared a lot and has delivered a wonderful session. It was quite informative and meaningful. Hope we have, cleared all the dark clouds as far as, the educators are concerned, their queries and concerns. Still, we have, our platform, WhatsApp platform, where they can ask questions and we will be able to clear their doubts. So thank you so much, Douglas sir. Finally, we have done. Thank you so much for your time.
Myself and Dr. Abdul Salam, we are planning this session for, I think, almost half an year.
Yes,
and
yes.
Finally, this was my debut attempt. And that happened in this fine day. And there is a time for everything.
And also, it was a quick arrangement as well.
Yeah, it was a short notice.
Short
notice. 2 days it was given.
Thanks. So
Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir. This is a wonderful platform. This is my first experience with the Bharat Sahodaya, and it was very pleasant. And the ambience was good. The environment was good, so that we could deliver in a flawless manner. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And also a word of appreciation for Himani ma'am. It was so very pleasant.
Thank you, sir.
And very professional also.
Very professional, and
Very professional.
every word is precise, every sentence is precise. And
Sir, it means a lot. Thank you so much.
Great anchoring.
Learning from the best of you people, sir. Thank you so much.
Excellent. The session was excellent. Also, all those who participated today also, thank you for your patience listening.
Thank you, sir. We'll meet again. We'll have more and more sessions from you to serve the educators.
I hope I joined the fraternity.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we'll meet again. Thank you so much. All the participants, please.
Thank you.
Be connected.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Greetings from Sharjah.
Thank you.
Bye.